Well, you've already alleviated one of our biggest fears. And since we work behind the scenes so much, we always worry about throwing a party and nobody coming. So it's fabulous to see this room full. And we're excited to give you a grade card on our organization, but more importantly on ourselves, the region as a whole, and our relentless efforts to weave our agendas together into the concept of a shared future. So today is today's a big day for us in the history of the organization, because 10 years ago we were born, and that's a milestone. It's a milestone for anyone, and we've survived our first decade, and I know in government years that's probably a year or so, but we're approaching our teenage years, and you watch what's going to happen to us then. We're going to get even nastier. We have some folks that are important to us today, those that sit in political leadership roles. And this is a critical part of what our state is dealing with and facing right now. So we want to recognize those folks that have taken their time to be here today. They know we're going to be talking about regional cooperation the entire day, so by their presence, they have affectionately endorsed what we're trying to accomplish. And I appreciate a lot them being here. So if I could ask these gentlemen to stand and please hold your applause till I'm finished. The mayor of Fremont is here, Mayor Jim Reinberg. City of Granville, Jim Buck. I saw Jim Buck earlier. Please stand. Thank you. Les Hoagland from Zeeland. There's Les back there. George Hartwell from Grand Rapids. Came in with George. Rich Root, Kentwood. And Mayor Van Dessler from City of Hudsonville. Let's give all of these folks a great round of applause for their leadership. We've just gone through another delicate part of our organization's evolution, and that's a change of leadership. And the delicacy is that there's an institutional memory that needs to be protected, but there's also that awkward moment about, will anyone step up? Do others believe that the organization, the effort, and the commitment is worth the personal sacrifice that goes with this? And I'm thrilled to tell you we have a full slate of leaders that I'm going to introduce you to here this morning also, or this afternoon, so that you've got a chance to continue to reinforce this significant sacrifice they are making to run this organization on a day-to-day basis. I have agreed to take the vice chair slot for the next year, which I will share with Dale Nesbury from Muskegon Community College, the president there. Chris Heiser, County Administrator of Montcalm County, will be our new treasurer, the slot I held the last 2 years. Bob Garrettson, District Manager Waddell Reed, Secretary, and the all-important ultimate leadership job of Chair will be handled by Al Vandenberg, County Administrator for Ottawa County. Let's thank all of those folks in advance for their service. Now, regionalism begins with an attitude of inclusion and is demonstrated by the physical presence and participation of many, if not all. So I want to ask you all to stand and remain standing when I read through some of these categories of those that have chosen in one way, shape, or form to become involved and take a role in this organization's 10-year history. First of all, we have several of the Strategic Alliance's current board members here today. Let me ask them to stand, hold your applause, and just remain standing. The past board members over the past 10 years, would you please stand and remain standing, all of you? All right, if you served on the original leadership forum in 2000, our Essentials Activity Committee for the Common Framework, I know there were a lot of those folks. Anybody that served on that group, please stand. All right, one of the biggest initiatives this organization, other than its birth, has ever been involved with is the WIRED grant. If you had a role and worked in any way, shape, or form relative to the WIRED and the WIRED implications, please stand in that. And then if you are currently working on a WMSA initiative, please stand. And there are several of those underway. Now you take a look around and you see what it takes to make this work. We've got a lot of folks standing and we still have a lot of folks sitting. There is room for everyone in this room to drive this organization's agenda. Thank you to all of you that participated at this point. So we're going to go back here sequentially. I'm going to recognize a couple folks as we pause and reflect on the leadership that this organization has benefited from and enjoyed. Again, a significant personal volunteer commitment. So let me ask Steve Heacock, our immediate past chair, to join me on the stage. Steve took over the chairmanship in this organization in 2006. Steve brought a discipline, because we had been through our formative stages, and whenever entrepreneurs get together, we are excited. There's a lot of inspiration, perspiration, and all the stuff you know that goes with getting this done. And we convinced ourselves we were a pretty good organization, and truly we were. The outside eyes and the outside influences, though, always cause you a moment to pause and reflect. And I'll never forget Steve's first board meeting. When we were plowing through our agenda, Steve raised his hand and said, "Hold on a second, I don't think the books balance." Well, that was a pretty important moment for us. Embarrassing, as I might say. But the truth was, we had more dreams than we had promises to fund them. So it wasn't technically out of balance. It was just a timing thing, we told Steve. And truly, you've proven that to be the case. But that discipline actually pervaded our organization over the last 4 years. He stayed on top of it. A credibility came with his participation and leadership. And we are a better organization, region, and ultimately entity because Steve was willing to grab onto this rudder that was moving in lots of directions and help us get even more on the straight and narrow. So I want to recognize him for his service today. He's chosen to do something else in his career that he's not allowed to use this mic for, but let me do it. Steve's obviously stepping back into the elected official arena and comes with a significant grounding in what this region needs and what this part of the state needs. So we're thrilled that he's chosen to leverage the investment that we've made in him and us to pursue becoming a representative for us in Congress in West Michigan. So join me, if you will, in recognizing Steve's accomplishments. What kind of a camera you got there, man? How long does this take? Shows yours.
Great, thank you, Jim. Thanks, Jim. If I said that for the West Michigan Strategic Alliance, can you imagine what I'll say if I get to Washington? Talk about books not balancing. I've always approached my participation and willingness to serve really where I thought I would add value. And like many of you, it was a task to have an organization be better the day you left than the day you came. I guess that's simple and maybe something obvious that we all do. And quite naturally, I've been very drawn to private-public partnerships, and I sincerely believe that this region is defined by those. And in fact, it creates it makes us globally competitive because we're able to do that. And this organization that Jim Brooks and others so thoughtfully created, this idea that business and government and the nonprofits could sit together and that people from different regions could sit together to not only discuss but solve problems that the communities faced is just extraordinary, and it's been a real privilege to be part of it, and frankly humbling to be to this day its leader. You'll hear from Sam Lyken later that we are nationally recognized for our best practices, but it didn't come without hard work and willingness on part of those private, public, and institutional sectors to really embrace collaboration. And obviously Greg Northrup deserves a great deal of the credit for that, his ability to convene groups, to bring them together, to sit and talk, and to thread the commonality that exists between them to a goal that they all want to reach is substantial. And that work is certainly a credit to him. When Jim Brooks and I think Greg came forward, Milt I think as well, maybe Nancy, and asked me to chair this organization in 2006, I really struggled because frankly I didn't understand the concept entirely of why regionalism was so important and why it meant so much. And in part, you think about it, that's now 4 years ago, and this organization has brought attention to that issue. And it's still difficult as we make calls for fundraising and otherwise to explain why is this important, you know, and as important as other organizations that people so willingly step forward and support within this region. But I certainly have seen the power of regions. I mean, I see the fact that with 800,000 people and 8 counties, if we can act as one and look as one to the outside world, we're a different entity. Where they might not consider a city of 200,000, they might well consider landing in a community of 800,000. The regional gray infrastructure is all connected up, whether we want it to be or not, and whether we believe those borders between our communities is substantial or not. So the roads, the water, the sewer, wired and wireless, significantly important from area to area within that whole region. The regional green infrastructure, the watersheds, the parkways, the parks themselves, and the regional collaboration that I've already spoken about. But you look where we can connect up and where we can become stronger because of those connections, fill each other's weaknesses, pursue and exploit each other's strengths, how much more we can get done, and we've proven it through this organization. I've been very, very grateful, frankly, to be part of the West Michigan Strategic Alliance. It's been a real honor for me and will continue to be. And I'm grateful to those community leaders that are here who began this regional mindset, frankly, even before there was a West Michigan Strategic Alliance. So we do have a short video for you to view that shows kind of a look back at WMSA's beginnings. Here's the video, Make It Happen.